You're thinking about moving to San Diego, but you don't know where to move to. Well, in this video today, I'm going to break down all of the different regions of San Diego and some of the things that you really need to know when moving here. My name is Kyle Whistle with Whistle Realty Group, and I am one of those rare San Diego natives. I'm born and raised here in San Diego. I've spent 40 plus years of my life living here. And in the video today, I'm going to share everything I've learned about San Diego over those 40 plus years with you so that when you do make that move to San Diego, you can really know what part of San Diego do you want to live in, because San Diego is very, very diverse in geography and climate and price range and all kinds of things. And so my goal is to really be your guide to living here in San Diego. And if you're interested in making that move to San Diego and want to figure out what area is best for you to live in, you can call or text my team at the number below. We can sit down and do a consultation with you, whether that's you're here in San Diego already or you're in another area and we want to hop on a Zoom together. Would love to get to know you a little bit better, learn a little bit more about you, your goals, and see what we can do to help you accomplish them. So I'm going to drop down here into the corner. I'm going to pull a little map up and just kind of take a look at San Diego as a whole. A couple things when you look at San Diego initially is we are, constrained by a variety of different things. We've got this giant blue thing over here on the left that is the Pacific Ocean. So obviously we can't build any further west because we've got that. When we look down here at the bottom of the map, this line down here, this is the border. This is the Mexican border. So pretty much anywhere you're at in San Diego County, you could be into Mexico within an hour drive. If you're actually here in downtown San Diego, near where the airport is, you're less than 20 minutes from being into Mexico. So a lot of people don't realize how far south San Diego is. We border Mexico. So we've got the ocean on the west side. We've got Mexico on the south side. All of this green area that you see over here, this is all forest and mountain. And then you've got the brown area over here, which is desert. So all of this green area is not typically built on. All of this brown area is not typically built on. So as you could see, San Diego is very constrained by a variety of different factors, whether it be an ocean, a forest, a desert, another country. There's not a whole lot of area left for us to build. So what you're going to find in general in San Diego is the density is just going to be a little bit higher here in San Diego than what you might be used to, especially if you're moving from the Midwest or from the South, where, being on an acre or more is pretty common. I bought a lake house up in Tennessee, and every single house is on at least an acre. There's very few parts of San Diego where you're going to have an acre or more of land to live on. So just make sure you know that moving here. But we will talk about where the areas are in San Diego that you can have a little bit of land if that's what you want. But we'll also talk about some of the areas where you can have more of that urban living vibe, very walkable and all of that too. So we'll dive into all of that as we go through this video today. So what I want to do first is just break out the different regions of San Diego. If you're talking to anybody who lives in San Diego, they're typically going to refer to different regions of San Diego. The first that we'll dive into is the North County region of San Diego. And so you'll see there's this freeway here, the 56 freeway, which on this map is pretty much dead center on this map. The way that most people consider San Diego is anything that's north of that 56 line there, they're going to consider that to be North County. So pretty logical, the north part of San Diego County. And most commonly that 56 freeway there, that's going to be your divide line. And if you caught that, I refer to it as the 56. That is how we talk about freeways here in San Diego. We don't call it the Interstate 56 or State Route 56. We just refer to freeways typically as the 56. We might say the 56 freeway, but we refer to it as the 56, the 15, the 5. That is just the way people born and raised in San Diego refer to our freeways here. So that's one thing just to kind of get used to. Maybe you refer to freeways a little differently where you're living currently, but that's how we talk about freeways here. So again, 56 is going to kind of be that divide line. That's going to separate central San Diego to the south and North County to the north of it. So anything that is south of the 56, so kind of this whole region here, we often will refer to that as Central San Diego. So logically, that is the center of San Diego. When we look at North County, again, 56 kind of being the southern border, on the north end, we have San Diego actually splits into two here. So as we kind of cruise up north here, what you'll see, the top of San Diego is typically going to be right along this line right here. And when you are to the west of that line, this is going to be Orange County. And when you are to the right of this is going to be Riverside County. So you have San Diego to the south, you have Orange County is up to the west, and you have Riverside County is going to be up to the east of San Diego. So those are going to kind of be the divides up there. When we look at North County, we typically are going to break North County into two distinct regions. We're going to have coastal North County, which is going to include areas like Oceanside, Carlsbad, Encinitas, Cardiff, Leucadia, Solana Beach, Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe, Fairbanks Ranch. These are all going to be kind of considered coastal North County. And then everything that's going to be to the east of this, we're often going to refer to as inland North County. So we call it inland because it is inland from the ocean. So when you go between the coastal regions of North County, again, your Carlsbad, Oceanside, Encinitas, Del Mar, when you're in the coastal parts of San Diego County, especially the North County coastal, you're going to have price points that are going to be significantly higher than a lot of the rest of San Diego because you live by the beach. San Diego's got about 70 miles of coastline. So from the north to the south, we've got about 70 miles worth of coastline here in San Diego. And the closer you are to the coast, naturally, your real estate prices, your rent rates are going to be quite a bit higher. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about moving here. Closer you get to the ocean, the higher the price points are going to be. The other thing to keep in mind when you go coastal is that the climate's going to be very different. When you are coastal, you're going to have those ocean breezes, which tend to keep your temperatures a little bit more moderate. It's not going to get as hot when you're by the coast, where once you go inland, you start coming out this direction, it tends to get a little bit warmer. I would say if you look at the average temperature of coastal North County versus inland North County, your average temperature is probably going to be about 10 degrees higher overall in inland North County. You're also going to get a little bit colder in inland North County as well. Actually, personally, I live here in the Poway community, and I woke up the other day and it was 28 degrees at my house. That's about as cold as you're ever going to see here in San Diego. But you're going to see temperatures in the winter time. You're going to get a little bit colder. And when you go inland in the summer, it's going to be a little bit warmer. So what you'll see in the summertime is you're going to have temperatures that are typically going to be in the 80s to 90s when you're inland. And you're even going to have a few days where it's going to be over 100 degrees. Where when you go coastal, you're rarely going to have days over 90. When you see a day that's over 90 by the coast, that's going to be one of those days that's going to be over 100 degrees inland. So keep that in mind as your climate. Also keep in mind that when you go inland, your prices tend to dip quite a bit. So you can get a lot more house for your money when you go inland. And you tend to get a little bit more land as you go inland because it's less dense. Naturally, builders want to build where the real estate is the most valuable. So there tends to be a lot more construction that's happening in the coastal communities in North County than there is in the inland communities of North County. A couple things to keep in mind. You can probably see this one jumping out at us here, but you got Legoland, which is one of the theme parks that we have here in San Diego. And obviously that is a Lego theme park, and they have both a normal theme park there, and they also have a water park there at Legoland. So very, very cool experience to hang out at Legoland. And something that's really cool that's right next to it, we'll zoom in a little bit, is they have the flower fields here, which is something that's really cool. This is obviously a seasonal thing. You're not going to have this all the time, but they grow this just, I don't even know how many acres it is, but it's something that's truly, truly beautiful, something that's really special to San Diego in the springtime. you want to make sure if you are here in the spring months of San Diego, it's only open for, I don't know, maybe a month or two of the entire year. But if the flower fields are open in Carlsbad, you've got to go there. It is one of the prettiest things that you're going to see in all of San Diego. And if you kind of go up on the hill, you can look down and see all the flower fields, and you can even see the ocean from up above. So really, really cool spot. And then something that's not shown up here on the map, but right in between the flower fields and Legoland, you have Karl Strauss Brewery. Karl Strauss is one of the original breweries here in San Diego. If you are not familiar with it, San Diego is big when it comes to beer. We have a huge beer scene in San Diego. There's over 100 breweries in San Diego. Some of the biggest breweries in the country, Karl Strauss being one of them. I'll back out here. When we go to inland North County, we actually have Stone Brewing, which is another one of the largest breweries. So this Stone's so big, they actually get a little spot on the map here. So Stone Brewing in World Gardens. Stone makes some of the best IPA beers in the entire country. So we have a huge beer scene in San Diego, with Karl Strauss and Stone being some of the best breweries that you're going to find anywhere. I personally like a lot of the small breweries too. There's always new breweries popping up all over San Diego. So if you are a beer lover, you're going to love the beer scene in San Diego. Whether you're into hoppy IPAs, or you're into sours, or you're into reds, there's breweries for everybody in San Diego. So what's fun to do is you can actually go on beer tours or brewery tours and hop on a limo bus with a group of friends and go cruise around and check out a bunch of the breweries. Or the other thing you can do that's real popular, especially for those that are living in North County, San Diego, is if we just head up north here a little bit, the next community that would be the first community you come to headed out of San Diego, you run into Temecula up here. And Temecula is known as wine country here in Southern California. So some of the best wine you're going to find is right here in Temecula. So very popular to hop on a limo bus and go and cruise and check out some of the wineries that are up in the Temecula Valley. So if you're a wine drinker, you're going to love that in Temecula. And actually, there's kind of a hidden gem in San Diego in the community of Ramona, which is going to be a little bit further inland. Ramona is within San Diego County, is really coming up strong in the wine game. There's a lot of wineries popping up in Ramona. There's tons of vineyards out there. So it's not nearly as popular as Temecula. So if you kind of want the big established wineries that have hotels and everything on them, Temecula is going to be your vibe. If you'd rather the small, sometimes these are still like the mom and pop wineries, go out to Ramona. There's a lot of good wine out there, and that scene is really just getting started. Another fun thing to do up in North County in San Diego, you've got the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, which is super fun. This is one of my favorite places. I've got a 5-year-old daughter. She loves going to the safari park. What I love about Safari Park is, and those that have been in San Diego for a long time, you probably, like me, often refer to it as the Wild Animal Park. So before the San Diego Zoo purchased it, it used to be called the Wild Animal Park. Once the zoo purchased it, they wanted to change the name, and they changed it to Safari Park. And that probably makes a lot of sense, because what's cool about going to the Safari Park, as you get there, the animals have a lot of space, which I personally love. I'm a big animal lover. So the more space the animals have, the better. And so you get to go hop on a tram that kind of takes you around through all the habitats. And it really feels like an African safari. It's a pretty good experience relative to the traditional zoo. You really get to see the animals out running around and seeing rhinos and giraffes and all kinds of animals out there. Just kind of having some free range to cruise around and have some fun. So if you're looking for something fun to do, San Diego Zoo Safari Park is great. Just know if you go there in the summer, it's going to be hot. So dress accordingly. Make sure you wear some light colored clothes. Probably don't want to wear anything too heavy, because it does tend to get pretty hot as we go out to the inland part here in North County. Some of the other things that are really cool in North County to point out is you have a couple of these lagoons that pop into San Diego. Agua Hedionda is one of my favorites. And the reason for that is that this is one of the few places in all of San Diego that you can actually have a dock on your property. So if I flip over here to the satellite view, you'll actually see some of these houses and condos here on this little inlet actually have their own docks, which is very, very rare for San Diego. There's only a few places in San Diego you can have your own dock. And here in Carlsbad on the lagoon is one of those. So very cool. And you can also go boating in here. You can rent paddle boards and jet skis and all kinds of fun stuff. And it's nice because this is protected from the ocean. So it tends to be very calm water. So unless it's a really windy day, you get some really good water. So that's another real fun spot in North County. So let me zoom back out here, show the whole view of San Diego. So I wanted to hit on some of that stuff. Some of the other things to look at is as we come into this region here in San Diego, this is where you're going to have some of the most expensive real estate in the entire country, not just in San Diego, but in the entire country. This freeway running down here, the 5 freeway, what you're going to find is when you're on the west side of the freeway, we call it west of the 5, the property values tend to be extremely high when you're west of the 5. You tend to have a little bit smaller lot sizes. Homes tend to be a little bit smaller. And what's kind of funny is when you're west of the 5, this will shock some of you, is a lot of these houses over here don't have air conditioning, which if you're from the South or you're from the East Coast, probably is blowing your mind. Like, how could you build a house without air conditioning? Well, here in San Diego, when we get hot, we do something very simple. We just open the windows and you just get that ocean breeze that floods your house. A lot of times you'll find, especially the older homes, when you're west of the 5, they don't even have air conditioning in them. So very interesting to see. But you can have amazing homes that are on the cliffs where stairs walking down to the ocean. So you can have some really cool properties here on the west side of the 5. When you come to the east side of the 5, you start getting into areas like Rancho Santa Fe, areas like Fairbanks Ranch, which are some of the priciest real estate in San Diego. And one of the main reasons for that is, one, the areas are just pristine. You've got golf courses everywhere. All of the homes are just in amazing shape. And the big thing is, hence the Rancho Santa Fe, Fairbanks Ranch, is there's a lot of ranch properties in these areas. So the lot sizes tend to be much, much larger, where most homes in these areas are on at least an acre. A lot of times you have 2, 3, 4 plus acres when you come into these areas. So if you're looking for something that's not far from the coast, where Rancho Santa Fe, you could be to the beach in 10, 15 minutes. Same thing from Fairbanks Ranch. But you want to be close to the beach, but you want to actually have a little bit of land. You want to have some space. You want to be, in some very established neighborhoods. Rancho Santa Fe, Fairbanks Ranch are both amazing, amazing communities for you to live in. Other notes just before we move on from North County, you tend to have some of the best schools in all of San Diego. San Diego School District up here is amazing. You've got Carlsbad School District up here is amazing. Poway Unified School District. You've got some of the best schools in all of San Diego County are all going to be up here in that North County region. So let's keep the tour moving. We've talked a lot about North County. I want to show you guys some of the other great places in San Diego County. So next thing we're going to look at is Central San Diego. So as we talked about, this 56 freeway tends to kind of be the divide line. And now when we go south of the 56, until we run into about this 54 freeway. So 56 on the north, 54 on the south. And then we're going to divide that as well, where we're going to break that into kind of follow the 5 freeway. Everything to the west of that, we're going to consider that to be coastal San Diego. And then everything to the east of that, up to about the 125 freeway. So this whole region here, we're going to consider that to really be central San Diego. So coastal San Diego's here, central San Diego is here, and then we'll talk about next up East County of San Diego, which is going to be here. So those are kind of your 3 regions as we get to the center of San Diego. So let's go left to right here. So when we go in coastal San Diego, You're going to find arguably the most amazing community in all of San Diego in La Jolla. If you've ever been to San Diego and visited, I really hope you have visited La Jolla. This is, as the name says, now it's spelled a little differently than how they would spell it in traditional Spanish, but it's the jewel. La Jolla means the jewel, and this really is the jewel of San Diego. La Jolla has some of the most expensive real estate in all of San Diego County. You're right there on the coast. You've got amazing shopping, amazing dining. You've got everything you need in La Jolla. It's an amazing place. You have a lot of very affluent families, a lot of celebrities, athletes are all living in that area. That's really one of the see and be seen places. When you say you live in La Jolla, people are like, okay, this person's doing well for themselves. They've worked hard. They're doing well in life. It's a very prestigious place to live in San Diego. So the schools in La Jolla, amazing. It's just truly is a gem. If you ever go to La Jolla, one of the things I really recommend is go down to La Jolla Cove. La Jolla Cove is a super cool place. You can cruise around. There's going to be seals and all kinds of wildlife. It's so pretty. Like, there's a lot of good restaurants that are right there in downtown La Jolla. Like, grab yourself some food and go take a walk and just go enjoy some food. Have a little picnic down by the beach, whether you want to sit in the grass, you want to walk down and sit in the sand. La Jolla Cove is amazing. Or there's a couple really good ice cream and gelato shops. So maybe you go to a nice dinner. Some of my favorite restaurants in downtown La Jolla. You've got Eddie V's, George's at the Cove. Those are a couple great places. You have the Crab Catcher. And when I'm saying great places, like, you sit down at these restaurants and have just like the most amazing view, and you get amazing food at the same time. So maybe you want to go have a really nice lunch or dinner at one of those places, and then go grab some ice cream. Or there's a cool coffee shop called The Living Room that's been around for a long time in La Jolla. Or there's a really cool one that opened up not too long ago called Better Buzz, which is my personal favorite coffee in all of San Diego. Both of those are right there in downtown La Jolla. Grab a coffee and just go cruise the walkways all around La Jolla Cove. You'll love it down there. If you've ever gone kayaking in San Diego, you probably did that at La Jolla Shores. This is one of the most popular beaches in San Diego. Great thing about La Jolla is the beach. It's a very calm beach. You typically don't have really big waves at La Jolla Shores. So if you have kids, it's a little bit safer. You don't have reefs or anything that you have to worry about. So really good family-friendly beach there. Another thing is, one of the largest schools in San Diego, you have UCSD, as we call it, or University of California, San Diego. Definitely one of the nicest schools in all of San Diego County that you've got there in La Jolla as well. And Black's Beach, it's a nude beach. So if you go to Black's Beach, you see somebody who's not wearing clothes, surprise. It's not a surprise. You watch this video, so if you go to Black's Beach, that you might find people that are not wearing clothes. And hey, look, it's got 519 reviews. A lot of people like to go down there and maybe not wear some clothes. A place you can just kind of be free. You also have some really good shopping in La Jolla. So this is technically University City. University City kind of likes to consider itself La Jolla East. So UTC Mall is one of the nicest shopping malls in San Diego. As we come south here in coastal San Diego, we have Pacific Beach. Pacific Beach is an area where it tends to be very heavy on tourism. If you've been down to Pacific Beach and you've either had drinks or you've had dinner, you've probably had those on Garnett Avenue. This is going to be the street where all the action happens. Always new restaurants, new bars popping up here. And there's all kinds of cool shops and stuff too. And some of those are resale shops like Buffalo Trader, and they always have some fun stuff and just some interesting stuff down there. So this is always a place to kind of see and be seen. There's, whether you want to go have drinks during the day or drinks at night, there's always action happening on Garnett, and a little bit on Grand. It kind of spills over, but the majority of the action is going to be on Garnett Avenue, or it's going to be down here on Mission Boulevard. So as you kind of come down, as we start to come down Mission Boulevard here, now you're getting into Mission Beach, which is another very, very popular part of San Diego. One of the areas that a lot of times you'll end up at over here is Belmont Park. where there's a roller coaster. So you can go and ride this really cool old school wooden roller coaster, and it's kind of like a whole carnival vibe going on. And there's always some very interesting people that hang out here at Belmont Park. So sometimes you'll have people that are on roller skates or skateboarders or on motorcycles doing tricks and stuff. It's kind of a fun, eclectic vibe over here at the boardwalk. So there's a path that kind of runs all along Mission Beach and up into Pacific Beach called the Boardwalk. It's another place to see and be seen. There's guys out there. There's this guy Slow-Mo. If you ever run into him, he kind of roller skates up and down the boardwalk in slow motion. And there's a lot of characters there. So highly recommend you guys check out the Boardwalk if you're in town. And it's also just a great place. You know, a lot of people that live in Mission Beach, Pacific Beach, like to go running up and down the boardwalk. So real nice flat, and it's just super, super scenic. And then this little body of water over here, this is Mission Bay. So there's a lot of activities happening there, whether you're going paddleboarding or kayaking or sailing. There's an area called Sail Bay out here. So if those of you that are into sailing, there's some really good sailing. You've got people windsurfing, jet skiing, or just out doing some wakeboarding or just cruising around the bay, which is super fun. And then you have SeaWorld, which is right here as well. So this is one of the other big theme parks in San Diego and SeaWorld. So, right, you've seen Shamu and the whole nine with the killer whales and all of that. And then they've recently been adding a lot of rides in SeaWorld. So you've got multiple roller coasters now, and it's a really good place to go and just kind of learn about the marine biology and all kinds of fun stuff. And they have different shows and activities, and you can swim with dolphins. And my wife and I actually got to go and do their beluga whale experience, which was super cool. So you've got that. As we come down, and one of the areas I want to point out, this is a hidden gem in San Diego. There is an area here, which the name, there we go, now it's popping up. So there's this community Bay Park. I actually used to live here. This is one of my favorite places in San Diego, because what you got to realize when you're down here in PB or La Jolla, those areas, tends to be very high density. It tends to be a little bit congested. There's always traffic getting in and out. So you got to be prepared for that. Where if you just go to the other side of the 5 freeway, you come into a couple communities here known as Bay Park, or if we come up north of it, so this Claremont Drive Road right here, if you're on the south side of it, it's considered Bay Park. If you're on the north side of it, it's considered Bay Ho. These communities all sit up on a hillside and have these killer views looking out over Mission Bay, and you can even see the ocean from a lot of these homes. And you get really good bang for your buck here, where, again, if you're on the west side of the freeway versus the east side of the freeway, your price point could be half the price, a third of the price. So if you're looking for a real good value, you want to kind of be coastal, you don't want to spend multi-million dollars, you come over on the east side of this 5 freeway here in a Bay Park and really, really get a lot of bang for your buck. Couple other spots to hit here as we talk about more coastal San Diego. This whole area right here, this point down here is referred to as Point Loma, and then the area just above it is Ocean Beach. Ocean Beach, I would say, is probably the funkiest place in San Diego. Ocean Beach just has a very, very unique vibe to it. It's one of those areas where I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this to you. You got to just go to OB. It is another world. People go to the beat of their own drum. And the funny thing is there's a lot of drum circles down in OB. It's kind of got like a hippie sort of vibe to it. So if you're into things that are kind of unique, a little out there, you might like that part of OB. Understand OB, there is a decent population, a transient population down there. So if that makes you a little uncomfortable, you might want to stay away from Ocean Beach or OB because it's more prevalent there. And when we get into downtown, those two areas, you tend to have a little bit higher transient population than anywhere else in San Diego. So if that makes you a little uncomfortable, you might not want to visit OB. But if you kind of dig that edgy, hippie vibe, you might love OB. All kinds of very eclectic shops and restaurants. You've got head shops and piercing shops and resale shops. Total funky vibe there. So if you're into that, you'll love OB. If you're not, probably stay away from OB. There's also a pier in OB, which is really nice. It's I think it's the longest pier in San Diego. There's a little restaurant out there. So it's fun just to go for a little walk. And then as you come further south from it, you start coming into Sunset Cliffs, which is just gorgeous. You can actually walk from Ocean Beach and start walking down onto Sunset Cliffs. It's just great. Waves crashing up against the cliffs and little tide pools and stuff. Really cool place to check out. And now what's great whether you're in Ocean Beach or you're in the Point Loma area, which Point Loma is to the south, Ocean Beach is to the north. This line down the middle here is almost like a spine, sort of. That's kind of a high point. And both sides of it are hillsides. So either side that you're on, you tend to have just amazing views. If you're kind of on the west side of that spine, you're going to have killer ocean views. If you're on the east side of that spine, you're going to have great views. This is all, this bay here is all San Diego Bay. So if you're on the east side of it, you're going to have views of San Diego Bay. And then this is downtown San Diego, or a lot of people refer to it as the Gaslamp District, where you have all the high-rise buildings. So you can have some really amazing views either side you're on, whether you're over here on the east side or you're over here on the west side. The views down in Point Loma and even, some of the areas in OB, you've just got killer views. So definitely check that out. And then the last two parts I want to hit of when we talk about coastal San Diego, kind of touched on it. This is your downtown San Diego area. So you've got, what's great in San Diego is we have an airport that is right by the water. Like when you land at San Diego, it is one of the prettiest airports. I travel a ton, fly all around the country, and our airport is just gorgeous. And this little tip, first time you fly into San Diego, make sure sit on the left side of the plane so you can have the view as you're coming into San Diego. So you get to see all the high rises here and you get to see the bay and the ocean. It's really pretty. So make sure when you fly into San Diego, you want to get a window seat on the left side of the plane. Super pretty. And then what's great is once you land and you pull out of the airport, now it's just palm trees and this bay, and you see the sailboats and you see all the high rises and stuff. So it is just gorgeous. It's definitely something that's special about San Diego. So downtown San Diego, and it's just, this is the area where all of the action happens. And this area is broken down into a few different regions. So if you're looking at moving into downtown, you want that urban vibe, you like the high-rise lifestyle, you want to be in a condo or an apartment, we can connect with our team. Again, we're going to put a phone number down below. We'd love to meet with you, learn a little bit more about your lifestyle, because different parts of downtown and just San Diego as a whole, you're going to get different lifestyles, different vibes. So that goes specifically within even downtown, because you've got areas like Little Italy, which, right, like the name, there's a lot of Italian restaurants. They play stickball on the streets, super cool vibe there. You got Gaslamp Quarter, which is like the heart of the action, bars, restaurants everywhere. Like maybe you don't want all of that. The Marina District, where it's a little bit quieter, might be your vibe. So it's going to vary quite a bit. You've got East Village, which is going to be east. You've got Petco Park, which is where the San Diego Padres play. Anything that's going to be east of this ballpark, East Village, this area, this tends to be, to call it edgy might be an understatement. It is, it tends to be a little bit rough. The transient population of San Diego, this is the highest concentration in all of San Diego County. So it is very edgy. It's an area where, depending on your comfort level, you might not be comfortable walking around in East Village day or night. So if you're looking in downtown and you don't mind living in a little bit of an edgy area, you can get a lot for your money in East Village relative to being in like Marina District, where it's a lot pricier. So, if you're comfortable with that edgy vibe, maybe East Village works for you. But if not, you definitely don't want to live there. You might not even want to go there. So just keep that in mind. In this video, I'm not trying to make San Diego like it's all sunshine and rainbows. I'm a straight shooter. I want to be honest with you, because if me and my team are going to be your guide to living here in San Diego, I got to shoot straight with you. So that's my goal when I shoot these videos, is to keep it very real, not sugarcoat it, not pretend like everything is perfect. We got some areas of San Diego that tend to be a little bit edgier, and East Village is definitely going to be one of those. A couple other things to note in San Diego. We've got the USS Midway Museum. This is an old aircraft carrier that's now turned into a museum, which is super cool. You got the San Diego Convention Center. So if you've ever been to a big convention here, San Diego Comic-Con's our biggest. We have the auto show there. So that's all right there. So what's cool in San Diego is you have all these places that are right on the water. Lots of good restaurants to check out, and just Gaslamp and downtown San Diego as a whole. You've just got amazing restaurants everywhere. So let's keep it moving. Last place I want to hit on when it comes to coastal San Diego is what's referred to as the island of Coronado. Now, we can see there's a road that connects it, but we still call it an island here in San Diego because it was, and they connected it to Imperial Beach. So Coronado, another one of those areas that is definitely on the pricier side of San Diego. The other thing that you'll see here is you have North Island Naval Station. So this entire gray part of Coronado is all a military base, all a naval air station. And so what you tend to see is you have a lot of retired military that live here in Coronado. And Coronado is just absolutely gorgeous. You have, as we zoom in here on Coronado, you have some really cool spots. The Hotel Del is one of the crown jewels of San Diego. If you've seen photos and videos of San Diego, a lot of times the Hotel Del makes it in there. It's this really old school, gorgeous hotel that's right on the sand. And if you come to San Diego during the winter time, they actually set up ice skating out on the beach, which is super cool. You're literally ice skating with ocean waves and sand crashing all around you. It's so cool. So make sure to check that out. The other part of Coronado is we have the Cays down here. So the cool thing is, I mentioned in San Diego, there's only a few places where you can actually have a dock, and Coronado Cays is the other one. So as we come down here into the Cays, this is a really cool community. You see virtually every home down here in the Cays has its own dock. So that's another really cool feature. Now, obviously, this is saltwater, much like the lagoon was up north. So the Cays is great. There's a park here. There's a hotel, and then you've got just gorgeous beach all the way up and down. And they have a really cool campground, Silver Strand. You can go camping there on the beach. Very hard to get reservations. We have a lot of beach campgrounds in San Diego. Just know that getting spots at these beach campgrounds is tough. They usually release the reservations 6 months out. And if you're not on there, the reservations are gone within seconds. So if you love camping, especially beach camping, you're going to really have to be on the ball to get a reservation there. So next up, we're going to go to the central part of San Diego. Clear that, which is going to kind of come down the 5, 54, up the 125, over to the 56. This is kind of what we refer to as Central San Diego. So some of the things to note in Central San Diego, some of the kind of the key pieces of this, you're going to have Mission Valley, which there is a new stadium that's coming in to Mission Valley right now, which you don't even see it on a map here, but the Chargers used to play right here, and recently they had a public vote, and the public was debating whether to put a soccer stadium in there or let the San Diego State campus, which is another one of the major universities here, take over and build an additional campus, as well as a football stadium. Well, by popular vote, the San Diego State Aztecs won the rights to this, and so they are building a new stadium, which will be open for the 2022 season. So you have a brand new stadium. They just recently announced the naming rights to that. Qualcomm makes a chip called Snapdragon. So it is called Snapdragon Stadium, which is a pretty freaking cool name for a stadium. So you're going to have the San Diego State campus, which they're going to call it the West Campus. You're also going to have the new stadium that's going to go in there. And then speaking of San Diego State, you have San Diego State's campus. So that is in an area that's referred to as college area. San Diego State is one of the probably the second largest school in all of San Diego. And this is a school that is very strong in their athletics department. So the football team is commonly ranked in the top 25, basketball team commonly ranked in the top 25. So if you're an athlete or you've got kids who are athletes and they want to be in San Diego, this is probably the school that they want to be at. The other school you've got is the University of San Diego, private school. This is one of the more pricey schools. The other two are more technically public. This is a private school, much pricier, but you've had a lot of people come out of this school. This tends to be a pre-law school. We talked about UCSD earlier. That's a heavy pre-med school. Then you've got University of San Diego, which is a pre-law school. So both very, very prestigious schools, very tough to get into. But I mean, any of these schools right now, I think you need a 4.0 or higher GPA to get into these schools. So not easy to get into, but very, very prestigious. All right, so other things to note here in central San Diego. You got San Diego Zoo. This is a world famous zoo. Amazing place. So San Diego Zoo, you have the zoo itself. And then we talked about up in North County, you have the safari park. Zoo is a little bit tighter spaces. One of the things that the zoo is known for is pandas. We always have pandas on an agreement with China. And we always have these really cool pandas there. Lots of fun stuff to do at the zoo. The zoo is also right next to this whole, there's part of this green area, which is known as Balboa Park. The Balboa Park is something, if you're in San Diego, you definitely have to come check out Balboa Park. Tons of history there. There's multiple museums to go check out. You've got the zoo to check out. If you're into disc golf or you're into regular golf, if you're into riding street bicycles, they have a velodrome. It's a cool place. So lots of history there. Definitely recommend you check it out at Balboa Park. And then it's surrounded by a few of my favorite communities in San Diego. We actually have an office here in North Park. North Park is one of those areas. Really, you got North Park on the north side of the park. Go figure, South Park on the south side of it. You got Bankers Hill on the west side. And you have Hillcrest up on the northeast side. All of these areas that kind of wrap around Balboa Park, these tend to be your areas where you have some of the older homes, more historic homes in San Diego, stuff that, might be 100 plus years old. Craftsman style houses, Spanish style houses. You have a lot of character in these areas. These areas, the homes tend to be smaller. You tend to have a little bit smaller lots. But you get a very high walk score in a lot of these neighborhoods. So there's tons of shops, tons of restaurants, tons of things to do. You have little pocket parks here and there. So that is one of the really big perks. One of the negatives is the schools, just central San Diego as a whole, overall doesn't tend to have the highest rated schools. Now, not saying all of the schools aren't highly rated, but in general, that's one of the downsides of central San Diego's schools are just not the best schools when you go into central San Diego. Let's keep the tour moving. Want to touch on East County, San Diego. So what we refer to as East County is really anything that is east of the city of San Diego that is still part of the county of San Diego. So that's going to include areas like Santee, La Mesa, El Cajon, Lakeside, Ramona, Alpine. It's going to include Rancho San Diego, Spring Valley, Lemon Grove, all these areas that are east of the city of San Diego, but are still part of the county of San Diego. And so anytime you go further east, just like what we talked about up in North County, we're coming inland more, which you're going to gain is you're going to get heat. It's a lot warmer as we go east, but you're going to drop down on price. So further east you drive, the more inland you go, your price point goes down, your temperatures go up. So if that's a trade-off you're willing to make, East County might be a place for you. I actually lived in Santee for a number of years. I lived in El Cajon, and we even have an office here in La Mesa. So big fans of East County. We'll talk about some of the areas that I really like inside of East County. Our office is actually going here into this part of La Mesa, which is kind of known as the village of La Mesa. So in East County as a whole tends to be more suburban strip malls, things like that. This La Mesa Village area, that's where it's very walkable. You've got shops, restaurants, coffee bars, all that. So if you're into kind of that area with a high walk score, you really want easy access to things, this area is going to be for you. Other parts of La Mesa that I like, the area around here, this is referred to as Mount Nebo, or sometimes referred to as Windsor Hill. And this part over here, Mount Helix, These are two mountains that kind of pop up here in La Mesa. And the great thing about these is that the views tend to be amazing, where you could see clear to the ocean from these areas. So even though you're, maybe 15, 20 minutes inland, you still could have an ocean view in these communities, which is really cool to have. Other stuff in La Mesa, you've got Lake Murray over here, which is a really nice lake to either go for a run, go fishing. And you've got one of the most popular hikes in San Diego. Now, a lot of people mispronounce it. They call it Cowles Mountain. It's actually Coles Mountain. It's from a family. It's done a lot of research on it. This is probably the most popular hike in all of San Diego. And there's a lot of different ways to get to it. You can come up what they call the front way, the back way. You could come up the Santee way or the no-no way. There's a lot of different ways to hike this, but this is really kind of like the center of San Diego. You hike this, you can see everything all over the place in San Diego. It's really pretty up there. And it's not too difficult of a hike. You got one of the community colleges over here in Grossmont College. Let me zoom out. Santee, you got Santee Lakes, which is one of the coolest campgrounds in San Diego. If you don't want to be on the beach, this is about as cool as it gets. There's 7 lakes here. So you can camp in your RV, or they even have some of these floating cabins. So that's a real cool place. Other things that kind of make East County unique is you've got some lakes out here. So we have San Vicente Reservoir, which is one of the biggest lakes in San Diego. So really good for fishing, for boating. That's a great place. And then as we come out further east, we have El Capitan, which is another one of the amazing lakes. So something you're going to find that becomes more popular the further inland you go, tend to have more outdoor activities. So in East County, a lot more hiking opportunities, mountain biking, going out boating and fishing tends to be a little bit more popular when you come out to some of the East County communities. You got a lot of golf courses out here because, again, there just tends to be more land as you go east. So anytime you get more land, you're able to have more golf courses. Golf's a big thing here in San Diego. So hopefully if you like to golf, hey, when you come in town, maybe me or one of the members of my team might want to go out and play around with you. As long as you're not too good, because I'm not too good. But golf is a big thing here in San Diego. So other things, East County. East County is a big region because it actually goes out to the area that we kind of refer to as the mountains. We have some really cool mountain towns in San Diego. Julian being one of my favorites. Julian is the spot that you can go up to. It's maybe a 45-minute drive. If you have a day that's in the winter that's rainy in San Diego, a lot of times you come up in the mountains in areas like Julian or Mount Laguna, you actually have snow up here. So this is something that's really cool in San Diego is you could go surf in the morning and you go play in the snow in the afternoon, which is really unique. And hey, you could go cruise down to Mexico at night if you want to. So yeah, the areas like Julian, if you go to Julian, Mom's Apple Pie, you got to check it out. They have the most amazing pies up there. You can go apple picking if you go at the right time of year. So cool place to go sledding and tobogganing, or just go have a good old fashioned snowball fight with the family. And then as we go out even a little bit further to the east, you get to this brown area that is a desert. So something that's popular, especially for a lot of people that live in East County, is to go off-roading. So whether you're into riding dirt bikes or quads or four-wheelers, or we refer to them as side-by-side, dune buggy, sand rails, all that. So some amazing off-roading as you head a little bit east. So areas like Acatia Wells and Glamis and Gordon's Well, there's some killer opportunities to go off-roading. So as we kind of bring the tour home today, I want to focus on the South Bay region of San Diego. So this little thing, San Diego Bay here, it's really anything kind of from this 54 freeway and down. And then we're going to hit this border because keep in mind, San Diego is at the border of Mexico. So this area is commonly referred to as South Bay. So when we look at South Bay, you've got some of the coastal communities like Imperial Beach, which has some of the least expensive coastal real estate in all of California. So if you want really good bang for the buck and you want to be by the beach, Imperial Beach is amazing value. I'm very bullish on the long-term prospects of Imperial Beach. One of the reasons, now again, this video, I'm trying to keep it real with y'all. One of the negatives is whenever you have heavy rains, there's a Tijuana River right here, and you get runoff from this river that goes out into the ocean. And there's a lot of days throughout the year where they deem it unsafe to go in the water in Imperial Beach. So because of the contamination that happens, you can't go in the water all the time in Imperial Beach. That's one of the things that's held the values down there. But I think over time, as they get that cleaned up, I don't know if that's going to be in 5 years or 50 years, but at some point they're going to get that thing figured out so they don't have that runoff going into the ocean. And I think that'll really help the values there. There's a pier down there in Imperial Beach, and there's a lot of new shops and stuff that are going in there. It's definitely gentrifying or improving. Another area, Chula Vista, is one of the biggest parts of San Diego. This spans multiple zip codes. So Chula Vista varies quite a bit. You've got coastal Chula Vista, or Chula Vista that's on the San Diego Bay, which is a lot of times have been kind of an underdeveloped area. You have like military bases along the south side of the bay. You used to have a power plant here, a lot of industrial. They got rid of the power plant. They got rid of a lot of the industrial. You got a lot of development that's happening in the Chula Vista area, the Chula Vista Bayfront. So you got a Gaylord Hotel that's going in there. You've got a convention center. You have this new trendy RV park that went in. There's going to be a lot of housing. There's going to be commercial. There's going to be office. So this is an area that if you're trying to buy an area that's on an upswing, the area that's close to the bay in Chula Vista, it's not the best area right now, but I think in long term, I think there's a lot of upside there. So both Imperial Beach and West Chula Vista, I think there's a lot of opportunity if you're looking for some upside. Then you kind of just have Central Chula Vista. You have a lot of older historic homes in Central Chula Vista. And then you start coming out to East. You've got some of the newer areas like Otay Ranch and East Lake. And these areas have really grown significantly. A lot of the new home development in San Diego over the last 10, 15 years has been in this region, this East Lake, Otay Ranch area. So a lot of new construction. If that's kind of your jam, you might really like living down in this East Lake, Otay Ranch area. Now, keep in mind that you are in the far southeast portion of San Diego County. The negative down here is there's not a lot of big businesses in the South Bay part of San Diego. So while you might be down here, in this southeast corner of San Diego, a lot of the offices are in either downtown San Diego, they're up here in the University City area, or they're up in this like Rancho Bernardo area. And you have a lot of offices here in like this Miramar, Mira Mesa area. So the traffic, getting to and from South Bay can tend to be a little bit heavy. The other thing to keep in mind is you have a couple border crossings down here. So you have a lot of people that actually live down in Mexico that commute every day back and forth. Doesn't cause a whole lot of traffic coming north of the border in the morning time because the cars are slowly released going north. But in the afternoons, when everybody's crossing back across the border, it tends to slow things down because the cars don't get to flow through as freely. So be prepared to hit a little bit of traffic in the afternoons heading south as you're coming into the South Bay area. And as you kind of come into the inland South Bay areas, again, price points go down, temperatures go up, but you get some lakes. So you've got Otay Lake down here, Sweetwater Reservoir up here. So you're gaining some cool stuff there. So I hope you enjoyed the tour. If you're still here watching this video right now, that means you hung out with me for the last 50 plus minutes. So I'm assuming you enjoyed it. Otherwise, you would not have made it this far in the video. So if you did enjoy it, you could let YouTube know, hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to get notified of future episodes of the show, we're constantly releasing new videos to help be your guide to living in San Diego. Hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell. That way YouTube will notify you whenever we release a new episode. And with that said, if you are looking to make a move to San Diego, whether you are moving into San Diego for the first time, you're moving back to San Diego, or you already live in San Diego, just want to live somewhere new, my team and I would love to be your guide to living in San Diego. Give us a call or shoot us a text at the number down below. That'll connect you with my team, and we can learn a little bit more about you, your goals, your lifestyle, your budget, and help guide you to the right neighborhood for you and for your family. Again, my name is Kyle Whistle with Whistle Realty Group. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for the last 50 plus minutes. If you're still watching this, I appreciate you. And hopefully you appreciate this content. Again, let YouTube know, reach out to my team. Thank you so much for watching this video. Kyle Whistle Realty Group, your guide to living in San Diego.